Hey guys, today I am drawing horror or horror comedy movie posters with Studio Ghibli characters. If someone doesn't already know, I love horror and I only watch horror movies. Okay, horror movies, true crime, and everything gay. So that's my top three things I enjoy in life. One of my all-time favorite movies is Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz and the whole Cornetto trilogy. I swear these movies are the reason why my sense of humor is the way it is and why I am the way I am.
When's your birthday? Out!
So I drew the Shaun of the Dead poster as a Spirited Away horror version. It just fit so well. You know, the train, Chihiro with flowers. Maybe the plot would stay pretty much the same as original, but instead of spirits, it would be zombies working at a zombie bathhouse. I don't know. You can come up with a better plot. Anyway, I really liked how this turned out, so I decided to draw a couple more posters. I also drew a Notcast version of this, and these both are available as prints in my Etsy shop if you guys are interested. By the way, if you haven't seen the movies mentioned here, there will be spoilers, so you have been warned. So first I combined Weapons and Totoro. When I saw the Weapons poster, the pale sky and the way the kids' arms are positioned, you know, that Naruto pose, made me think of Totoro's chest fur and the patterns. You get me? Like, you see what I mean? And obviously kids fit perfectly with Totoro, since the main characters are the sisters, Satsuki and Mei. So I had to do this mashup. And Weapons was honestly the first really good horror movie I've seen in a long time. Because I watch so much horror that I've become like extremely picky. And honestly, most horror films are just awful. Sorry. Same jump scares, same cliches. It feels like once you've seen one, you've basically seen them all. I can't even remember the last time I was actually scared while watching a horror film, except when I watched Weapons. It was chilling. There were so many moments when I genuinely couldn't look. I almost shit myself more than once, and that's something. And on top of that, it also managed to be hilarious in this kind of really uncomfortable way. Like, you laugh because something funny is happening, but it also makes you uncomfortable. And the ending with the kids was just amazing. It was just iconic. So Weapons is about a small town in Pennsylvania called Maybrook, where 17 children from the same class disappear at the exact same time in the middle of the night at 2:17 a.m. The whole class except for one kid. And it leads to mass panic. The whole town is in chaos as the kids' families and the police try to figure out what happened and who's responsible. And the story is told from multiple different perspectives, showing how the characters cope in their own ways. And besides the horror and gore and the creepy stuff, I think the movie also portrays grief and this kind of helplessness really well. When nobody knows anything and there's absolutely nothing you can do except start pointing fingers, especially at the poor teacher, since all the missing kids were from her class. So it is revealed that behind the disappearances is a strange older woman named Gladys. She's a witch who uses weird rituals to control the people around her and keep them in a kind of trance. She has a bell that she uses as part of the ritual, and with the bell she can summon the kids to her and weaponize people around her. And she believes she can extend her own life by feeding off the kids' life force. And the movie never states her exact age, I think. But she could be centuries old, since she's been doing this for a very long time. So I thought it was both funny and disturbing to combine Weapons and Totoro, because Totoro is one of the most beloved Studio Ghibli characters, if not the most beloved. He's this super kind and gentle forest spirit who represents childhood, imagination, and just safety. And only children can see him. So he's kind of like a protector. So the idea that he could actually be the villain, pretending to be the kid's friend, just to gain their trust and lure them out in the middle of the night, and then they just disappear without a trace. It's pretty fucked up. But on the other hand, this was also pretty easy to do because Totoro has some slightly creepy qualities. He's huge and has this big grin that can feel kind of unsettling if you don't know the character at all. Like the scene where Totoro shows up next to the girls at the bus stop in the dark, in rain, has honestly always felt a little spooky to me. It kind of reminds me of when the Croak first shows up in the Moomins. I gave Totoro the same bell that Gladys has. In Weapons, she rings the bell at exactly 2:17 a.m. to summon the kids and keeps them in her basement, where they are in this catatonic state. So maybe Totoro lures them over and keeps them inside his giant tree instead. And since the entrance is hidden and humans can't see it, no one can ever find the girls. So he can just keep them there and, grow more powerful. I used a lot of direct references from the movie for the girls because this perspective was hard for me. I really wanted both of their arms to be in the same position as the kids in the poster because that's how they run in the film. But I struggled. I struggled. This was really fun to make, even though I'm not completely satisfied with the girls' poses. Sometimes it just doesn't work out, and it's fine. I did change Satsuki's arms a little bit, just a little bit. The bell also has a little triangle and a 6, as Gladys has in the film, and I added a bit of blood to it because that's also part of the ritual. And I thought about drawing their house too, since there are houses in the poster, but that didn't really make sense because they're supposed to run out of the house. So I kept the background simple and added depth with grass in the foreground and added some flowers and this small Totoro. I thought that was a cute little detail. But what does he know? He's just looking at them like, oh shit, he got them. Oh well. Next I combined Hell of a Summer with Princess Mononoke. This is actually a concept poster and not the official one, but I liked it more than the real poster, which is very generic. Sorry. I just like how simple this is, but still effective, and honestly, this would catch my attention more, so I think they did a good job. Hell of a Summer is an okay horror film. Nothing too special. It had its moments, but it's pretty typical teen horror comedy. It's a horror comedy slasher about a group of teenagers who go to summer camp, but there is a killer who starts murdering the camp counselors one by one, and nobody knows who it is, and the teens have to survive together. It's directed by Finn Wolfhard, and he's mentioned that Shaun of the Dead inspired him a lot, and you can definitely see that. Like, I think there are some similarities. So I obviously tried to keep the ice cream cone shape. The red skull ice cream thing reminded me of Sun's red mask, which is one of her most iconic features. She wears the mask during battles, and it symbolizes her warrior side and makes her seem really feral and kind of almost spiritual being, or even demonic in people's eyes. She was raised by the giant wolf god Moro, and lives with the wolves, so the people in the nearby village called Irontown fear her and see her as an enemy and a threat. And Sun absolutely hates humans who destroy the surrounding nature. Same. Relatable. Nature is a main theme in Princess Mononoke. The film is about the conflict between humans and nature, and it shows a lot of these like rocky landscapes. So I drew cliffs in the background, and I had to include the wolves as well, since they are Sun's family and a big part of the film. As for the plot, I think it would stay pretty similar to the original, but even bloodier and gorier. Sun would just kill all the villagers who harm nature and animals. Like total massacre.
Good for her.
The movie is already pretty dark and serious with lots of strange and even creepy looking creatures. So it wouldn't take that much to turn it into a horror film. Princess Mononoke was actually the first Ghibli movie I saw. I bought the DVD from a flea market when I was young, and it was in Japanese with no subtitles, so I had no idea what was going on. I just stared at the animation with my mouth open because it was so beautiful. And the wolves, I was a huge wolfaboo. So if there were wolves or dogs or any canines in a movie or animation or comic, I didn't give a shit if I understood anything. I just wanted to see the wolves. Like, the beautiful animation alone was enough for me. Also, the scene where Ashitaka shoots that guy's arms off with an arrow is burned into my eyes forever. But yeah, this movie felt really mysterious and almost scary back then. And because we didn't have the internet, I didn't have a lot of info on it, and none of my friends have heard of it or cared about it. So it felt really mysterious at the time. And it was my first experience with Ghibli films. But yeah, I really enjoyed making this one because I didn't have to focus on a large background area and could just spend time working on the little details of the rocks and grass. This one was definitely the easiest to make, and it didn't really end up as a horror version. I just added a bit of plot like in the poster. I also made a version with a different name, Hell of a Princess, to make it feel more like the poster. And I thought it sounded funny, and I also tried to pick a font that looked as close as possible. And here are all 3 posters I made. I hope you like how they turned out. If these were real horror films, like real Ghibli horror films, which one would you watch first? And if you want to grab one, they are all available as prints in my shop. I also restocked some of their sold out prints, so go check them out if you want. And I want to thank everyone who's bought something from my shop and supported me. It really means so much to me. And thank you everyone who watched this. I hope you enjoyed, and if you want to see more, be sure to subscribe and ding the bell. And if you are thirsty for more horror Ghibli content, I've also drawn a Totoro Junji Ito mashup, so go check that out. Also, don't forget my last video where I made a fake VHS from my flea market finds. I've absolutely loved reading your comments. It's been so fun hearing how many of you had these same toys, either at your grandparents' house or ran into them as kids in the doctor's waiting rooms. Like, a lot of people mentioned that in the comments actually. Okay guys, thanks again for watching this. Stay adorable as always, and I'll see you very soon in my next video. Bye!